Yo, and we are live. What's up, my dudes? How is everything going? It's me, Henshin. You will always know me as Bryn as well, but I prefer Henshin now. I just like that Dane. I do it
Just
as
gonna change
with
that
me as
name.
always. With me as always is Airlim, and I'm so glad to be going to watch the next episode of Zenkaiger. How are you doing,
Yeah,
Airlim?
I'm not too bad. A little fella came into my house today, and he's a cat, a goddamn cat.
No way, you got one.
Yeah,
Nice.
you've
Oh,
even
so
got your
lucky, so
faith.
lucky.
I've got your friend, or your favorite. But he's on the other room. He's on the other room.
Nice. When did you get that then?
Got that today.
Oh, damn. If only I had the money.
I wish I had money too.
I just got to stick to the show, unfortunately. So yeah, good episode. I think it was. It was a lot different than I expected. A lot more action orientated, whereas the one previously was a bit more sort of story wise. But yeah, first thoughts on the episode when you saw it.
It's a silly episode, so I kind of imagined it was going to be silly. It was a good one. I generally kind of liked it, so it was a lot of fun. Very different, but very kind of he's a clean freak. So, but it was good. What did you think of it? Very action packed, or just very kind of?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like it definitely was a different take and stuff because obviously in this one we had the debut of Trash World, I believe he's
Yeah.
sort of like named. So it was quite good in that respect. I think this was generally sort of made to be more of a story development and a character development for both Majin and Rune in this particular episode. Would you agree
Mm,
with that?
yeah, very much to my girl. She's getting some more screen time, so I'm okay with that.
I should probably explain the attire. So,
Really, I did not know, Mister Patter Ranger, a Red Ranger.
yeah, so I'm always trying to like put on something different because I've got a lot of Super Sentai and Ranger stuff that I generally don't really wear that too frequently. It's kind of on and off, but I
Mm.
never really get the chance to sort of proper show it off. So this I actually is one of the I believe it's a Japanese premium item. But the people who
Ooh.
actually got this from was Sentai Jackets. Don't know if you've been on their site or if any of you have met them on Power Morphicon, but they're generally the guys that are able to get sort of like these
Mm.
jackets and stuff that you usually see in Super Sentai and whatnot. And especially for the US of A, they'll make it available towards people that otherwise wouldn't be able to get them. So I was fortunate enough to get this one. I was supposed to get green. However, because I'm not the serious type, that's why I was like, but yeah, no, I was originally supposed to get green, but obviously Japanese small is way too small, so
Yep.
had a medium, didn't have green, had red, boom. So, but I've been told I look really good in red, so.
Good. The question is, do you go out in that jacket, or does that jacket stay in the house?
Stays in the house. There's very rare opportunities where I go out in this jacket. I think I once wore it for Halloween. But like apart from that, yeah. Although yeah, it was at one of my like it was like a work event sort of thing, so
Mhm.
it was a bit frustrating. But anyway, sorry, let's get back to so in this particular episode we had a few we didn't really have any debuts, but we did have one specific one. We had a new character come up, so that was quite
Yep.
fun. But yeah, not much is known about him yet. This is definitely a sort of like soft intro for him. Generally though, it was all about trying to deal with Trash World and the like little sort of like bits with Majin and Rune. So, what do you think about the personalities of Majin and Rune coming through now? So,
Magine is my girl. Like, she's my girl, and she's so cool. Like I just love her. I think she's awesome. Vrun, I kind of see as the clean freak, so I imagine that this was his spotlight, his light to shine, and he was just like, oh yeah, gonna clean it good, just constantly. Like I could imagine him just doing that all the time. Like you didn't need the others being there; he would have
yeah,
done it all himself within like 2 minutes. So the character development of them, building up, was pretty good, and I kind of thought that everyone would go to the library all the time. because that's his thing.
Right. Yeah,
What about you?
I think imagine being untidy. I was not expecting. Um,
Mm.
but I suppose she is kind of like a young girl sort of archetype, so maybe that was part of the idea of that. Rune, I was quite surprised about, but then again, considering he used to be cleaning the old sort of like Empire castle back in the day, I'm not surprised that it's kind of drilled into him that if he sees a mess, he needs to clear it. But yeah, I definitely think there was a lot more to this episode than it seemed, just because it sort of demonstrated these two particular characters, but also, you know, it was. I think it was kind of like one of those episodes that was trying to show a message, wasn't it? You know,
Yeah.
there's a right
It's
way
like
of
clean
doing
your room.
things. There's an importance of keeping your like home and environment tidy and clean. And yeah, it was quite a nice battle. Personally, actually, I liked how they used like the rubbish to sort of like take over the whole area, and that being a threat. I did like how they used that, and once again, I was quite happy that although these different worlds are being used by the bad guys, and the Kikunoid is like basically possessed by it, they don't remove the robotic element from them. So much like when we've had Sushi World and all the ones before that, there is still it's still like machine-based weaponry that you see pop up now and again. It may be like rubbish and stuff that are infused with the design, hence the rubbish being taken over the whole environment and just piling out of him. But at the same time, it was kind of focused on the fact that most of his weaponry was part of his body. So shooting at the sort of like Gatling weapons and whatnot, like the that sort of thing. But yeah, anyone to add to that, right?
I don't know. I'm like trying to think of it. I see the robotic side. Yeah, no, I don't think I've got anything I could add to that one. I'm afraid, but
yeah.
like, there's one thing that gets me in the episode, is near the end. Like, the general, he finds out about the worlds separating.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was a major big part of it. Like, oh, we now know this has happened. So, yay.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to say.
Yeah. I think the big things that we saw in this episode that we're kind of more looking forward to is probably what Iljarud is doing in the background. Well, obviously we'll get to that in a bit with the images and not we'll show, but I'm glad that we still got to see the king and Gegi in this, as well as seeing that Barashitara has got more of a dominant role in this, and it was his plan to begin with. But I wasn't expecting that little link at the end for the soft reveal for the new character. I was not expecting that. Do you remember what his name is, by the way, Airlim? I can't seem to remember now.
I think it's Cecil or Cecil, something like that. That's what they've kind of given. Let me look it up.
Yeah.
I know that they mentioned it. It's been online. That's not how you spell
Yeah,
Zenkaiger.
I believe the name was only ever mentioned at the end of the episode, and I didn't think to take a note of it, which is my fault.
That's fine.
But yeah, I think we should just dive into the characters and stuff like that and get into the imagery, shall we?
Let's do that. That'd be fun. Yeah, I'm sure it's Cecil, which would be a really cool name, like an old man English name. My name's Cecil, and I'm here to destroy you, Zenkaiger.
Okay, so first thing I want to obviously go through is we didn't really see much of Juran and Gowon in this, although they did have a presence, and same with Kaito, but this obviously was more to do with Ruin and Magian. But it does seem like Kaito was kind of helming it, because he was still a major part. Like, it seems like he's not always the main character, but he is the connecting character. So it always goes back to him one way or another, as a focus, which is good because he's the only human character really in this particular team, and it's good that we still get Yak-chan and Sek-chan all included in this episode too. So, which characters apart from Majin and Vroon stood out for you?
I don't know, because all of them. I think I'm going to say Sek-chan because we got more personality in this one, and it's not just one of those Sentai birds that would just pop out from nowhere if something gets on top of it. I think it's very hard to kind of say which one stands out when focus episodes are on like two characters like Vrun and Majin. So it's more kind of it's hard to say. Stacy is the guy's name,
Oh,
by the way.
Stacy, there we go. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because he just literally the way he jumps, it's just so weird. Like it's more like, oh, I'm like, oh no.
It is. It's a bit showy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so showy, but it's not like it's not believable. It's comical, and I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be fun seeing him around.
I think. Yeah, I think the way that they done his movement and whatnot, especially with the flipping and stuff, although it looked kind of like corny and cheesy, to me it looked a bit scary and freakish. I think that's the sort of essence they're trying to give off for him. Like, there's something not quite right with him. I think that's the essence they were going for. Because although he had that showy element, he has that sort of like character already infused. He does cause uneasiness, both in the way he moves as well as the way he generally is. And this is only the soft opening for him. But I think we did get a little preview on what he's going to be up to. So so it's going to be interesting to see in the next episode how this is going to change the whole dynamic. It does seem like they're writing him in such a way that he seems a bit like a combination between I can't remember his name. Sorry, I'm need to clear my throat. My bad. That was really loud. But I think it was interesting because he's kind of a combination between one of the main villains that we've seen in previous season, which is Kira Major.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really remember his name. It was the King's brother. The name escapes me, but it's like a combination between him and Basco from Zenkaiger, because obviously he used Ranger keys, but he wasn't necessarily a Ranger or anything himself. So it was like a combination between him and the uncle from Kira Major, because he did have the same sort of abilities in a way because of his species and whatnot being tied to the Kirame stones and whatnot. So yeah, I think he's gonna sort of be that sort of essence, and it does seem like he's putting on the whole purple essence. So that might be our Ranger for now. Whether or not he's gonna be staying like that and become our two Kaiser or not is another thing entirely. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I hope he doesn't in that purple outfit, as in like that when he morphs. No, just his suit's horrible. The helmet's horrible. But I get what you mean by him. Like, he does remind me of Basco quite a bit. So I just hope that if, from what I've heard, is that he's not like, I'm turning the Kikoids, like the minions, into the Rangers. I really hope it's the same things like Basco's trumpet, where it's just like he's able to shoot the coins out or the gears, and just therefore it turns into them, because it would make more sense.
Yeah.
And especially since I think Basco's in the film, it would make sense of saying, well, you've got this trumpet to do it. I would love to see that happen again. Yeah.
Right.
And then
I just saw Richard in the chat. Is that a Peta Ranger jacket? Yes, it is.
He's loving it too.
As I said before, Sentai Jackets is the place I got it from. They're on Facebook, online. It's great to see, outlets like that. This is not sponsored at all, by the way. I didn't message him about which I would do this. This is just because I really wanted to wear this in this episode, which is a shame in a way, because I was hoping to see something from Pata Ranger be used, and we have seen that, but just not in these, but in the mini-series episodes, which I've yet to see a release for as a sub. So I was planning to wear this during that release, but I just got impatient.
I have to wear it now.
Right, let's move on to. So we've got Barra Shettara. Sorry, but is it Barra Shettara? I've got to make sure I pronounce these names right. Yeah, Barra Shettara. I'm just gonna go with that. I'm pretty sure it's 100% is the way it's pronounced. You see him as sort of like focus, because he's the one that came up with the plan for this particular attack in the first place. What did you think about the king not being too happy with his plan, though?
I think it's going to be a reoccurring thing. As soon as he hits the drum, they all jump up and jump up and get down. So that I think mainly. Oh, Richard was there when you bought it, by the way.
I actually forgot that. I met because I met Richard at Paramorphicon, and wait for it to reconnect. There we go, it's back. Okay, now I want to get. Oh yeah, so yeah, he was. I met him at Paramorphicon. I just happened to meet him at the very beginning of it, and then we've become good friends since. But yeah, I bought this jacket. I got the jacket there, already purchased it, and I must have forgotten that he's seen it. He must have done though. But yeah, sorry, as you were.
Yeah. It's interesting because again, I'm still used to having like loads of different minions, like generals and stuff, and the fact that you got two, now you've got this other one. I feel like it's going to be interesting. Like, I know the king wants the plan to happen so much, but he has to wait for another 30 odd episodes, 30 odd weeks, before his plan can be revealed.
It definitely seems like though that Ilgerud is the main sort of brains behind everything, and while he's off being busy, Shettara just took the initiative and thought it might as well do an attack.
Yeah, I think it's more. I think Ilgerud is going to have, like, he's going to give some information away, like, oh yes, I've made this blaster that with this gears that works with the purple ones, and then it'll be like, oh, so how'd you make it? I made this gun with the purple gears. But how did you make it? I made the gun. I think that's going to be a thing until like much later on, when it's like, here is my master plan. This is what I want. I want to take over the world. I want to take over this. And then he seals the guy off. He does seal it. I called it first. Seals him away, and then uses that as a gear and be like, haha, he's the big bad.
Yeah, I do think that I think they're trying to set Ilgerud up to give us more information later on down the line, because as we probably suspect he's doing, and we're probably what everyone's already previously seen, is that the technology that the Zenkai stuff is based on is probably the same technology that Ilgerud's creating now. But here we go with King Bokowas with Geki again, or Evil Sekchan. I really can't wait to see these two characters become more in this show, because I'm kind of hoping they are. They're not really doing much yet, but I suspect that more developments might occur once we've actually got. Well, I'm guessing probably when we got two Kaiser into the frame. I don't think we're going to probably see these two do anything until either one of the generals defeated or we have some new opponents for these villains to go against. Would you agree with that, Airlim?
Yeah, like I kind of like everyone's saying, like, just as you just said a minute ago, like saying Zenkai, like Stacy's going to be two Kaiser. I really want Stacy to stay that bad, but what I would love, and I know I don't know if they're going to do this, is what, like, we've seen like the Rangers use or Zenkaiger use the ability of like other Rangers. I would love it if he could use the same thing. So if he goes like, oh, I'm going to use Go Buster, and it's like, oh, I'm going to use my Go Buster, and they have the same abilities, and it's just like, oh my god. Or like he goes, oh, I'm using Go Buster, I'm going to use Gokaiger, and therefore it's like a battle. I'd love to see that. They won't do it though, but no, I can see them being like the big bag for a while. I want Stacy to stay there. I want Zenkaiger to be the nan. Two guys that be the nan.
Right, let's move on to the actual image of Stacy. So, first impressions apart from that you got from him.
First impressions was just very. Don't be the thinking type. Like, hey, how are you doing? It's like, oh, this light in this world is too dark for my heart. I don't want him to be that sort of character, but I can see him being that character. But I just kind of thought, pretty boy.
I honestly think he's not more. I think he's more like searching information. Like he kind of knew that what was going down. There's going to be plans involved. I think he was weighing his opponents. Because he meets with Kaito, and when he falls under the influence of Rubbish World's, let's call it like
Trash World.
Oh, sorry, Trash World. Yeah, let's call it like like a lazy influence. Let's just name it as that. Because obviously, when we will get to that part in a bit with the imagery, but where it affected him, he did seem kind of disappointed that it had that effect, as if it was going, oh well, moving on, go and see what else I can do. It does seem that sort of way. I do wonder though, considering the connections between all of these bad guys, what exactly Ilgerud, or like what causes Stacy to get Ilgerud's device, because I mean, spoilers if it's not obvious, it definitely seems like the stuff that Ilgerud is creating is going to be for Stacy. So whether or not there's a connection between Ilgerud more than there is with Barashitara. There we go. We have to wait and see. But yeah, I do think the guy is deadlier than he seems at the moment. Just because he's very sort of like laid back. Like he's curious, but not to the point where he wants to act on anything yet. So I guess we're gonna have to wait and see how his personality actually shows through when he starts becoming more of an active member in this particular show.
I can imagine like it'd be the perfect point is when like Kaito turns around in the next episode. He's like, oh my god. He's like, Stacy goes, right. I don't like you because I made that like split judgment, but you were too lazy, so I went to the bad side. I'm like, no, perfect timing, bad timing at the same time. I can see him being more kind of like sussing him out first and be like, hey, I want the information. And then so Ilderouge goes, you can use the gun. He's like, thank you. And that's it.
It is going to be kind of interesting how this show is going to continue developing, though, because this is only episode 6. So to have a villain with similar powers to the Zenkaiger, it does seem a bit interesting that they have this development so soon. Oh, Jalen's here. What up, Jalen?
Hello.
It's good to see you with us. Do let us know if those who are with us today, what your opinions are of these particular characters so far, and anything you want to add along the way is always appreciated. So here we also have an image of our villain for this particular episode, which is our Kikunoid. Well, Trash World.
Just Trash
World. They really are quick with these names. I'm glad they didn't overthink them. I really like the design of this particular guy, but not because of how the trash element is not really as obvious as it may seem, but because of his eyes. It looks very sort of like spider-like, and I'll get to that in another a particular image that I'll show to demonstrate that. But what did you think of the design of Trash World?
This is like Evil Wally, isn't it? Like Evil Wally. This is like, rather than clean up, trash everything. I think I wouldn't have put the spider part to it. I generally kind of thought though it looks okay. With them naming them like Trash Mushroom World and stuff like that, I guarantee they just sat at the board and like, look guys, 40 odd weeks, we can't be bothered naming every single one like some Japanese name. What do we just call it? First name, what it is. Oh, okay, I like that. Trash Monster? Yep, Trash Monster, Trash World. Yes, works. The design of him looks cool. He just looks like a toilet with a bin and then just like pumping out like trash gas. Oh, can you imagine? You can even like looking at it, you can feel it getting stuck in the back of your throat going, oh god, that's so bad.
Yeah, his abilities and attacks were pretty good, but what you said about the naming actually makes me think of something. When it comes to these names being so simplified as Trash World, it makes you wonder how many more characters they might actually have up their sleeve. Because if they're putting such minimal effort into naming all of these different Kikunoids that are coming up against the Zenkaigers, then makes you wonder if they've actually got a lot more down the line that we need to look forward to. Because all of that planning must have gone into something. Like, if they're taking names to simplify creatures that the people are up against, what other characters are they going to be introducing later down the line that would take that time to create characteristics and names for? Because naming is a big thing. Naming does make a difference.
Well, you'll probably have some characters like much down the line that will be like 2 episodes. So it will like, that may come back like 2 or 3 times. Because I'm guessing that with the pandemic at the moment, at the time when they were filming it, it was probably a lot easier to either make a ton of monsters after simple things like we've had like mushrooms. So you could have one like say lasagna world. Oh, God, I would love to go to lasagna world. Or it could be like pizza world,
Mm.
you know, or then drop it down to phone world where it's all interesting, like where it's all going to be just like it's going to be easy because maybe they couldn't come up with all these names where it's just like, oh, here's Sukabukamon. You're like, oh god, that's a long name. But then you go, well, let's just call it trash. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, we've put the names into the main characters. That's all you matter. You're not going to get toys of these monsters whatsoever. So frick it. Let's
Yeah.
just call them trash.
Right, so here we are with like a sort of like scenes now. We're going to get to our favourite parts now. With Majin and her messy room, does give a little bit of depth to the character in a way. Because obviously she's not just using her magic all the time. She's not looking lookable. Gives her a bit more characteristics that she just sees, just messy personality and accident prone as well. So,
Yeah.
since this is your favorite character, what did you like about Majin and her little quirks?
I love her quirks, but the one thing I've been thinking of when I saw the episode is, can you imagine sitting in that board meeting going, right, guys, this is going to be a very important thing. Oh, well, what is it? What is it? I want you to go out and buy a ton of crap. Don't care what it is, and we're going to throw it everywhere. And it's just like, where do they find it? And it's just like some guys, things just going around picking stuff up,
Yeah.
slapping it down. And like, where would you find half this stuff that's in it? Like, really? I love her quirks. I think that's what kind of makes her a character because it's also when they go in, they go, oh my God, this is a terrible room. She's like, no, 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 it's not me. And it's that sort of thing that most like women who would be messy or stuff like that, when you go into the room, if you get invited or if you go around like, no, no, don't look at this. Like, how many times have you had like a friend come over and your partner's gone, quick, like, look, excuse the mess, excuse the mess. You're like, okay. But it's that sort of thing. And I like it. It's just it adds to the character, and you know that they're not a robot.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, look how cute she is there. Oh, but I like it. I think it gives characters personality, and that's what we like. So her quirks are absolutely fine. That makes her stand out rather than just the typical hero
Yeah.
type thing.
I do like how Kaito, Zuran, and Gowon do actually have like opinions in this, so they're not like standing in the background as the episode. They have got a little bit of input for it. Just their faces and well, Kaito specifically, but the other two, just what they're saying, their reactions are great.
It's just like what? But if you notice, because I noticed this, they change the eyes out at times.
Yeah,
for,
they do. Yeah,
like, bigger eyes.
That's true.
So I like that. I love that sort of thing. I just imagine the guy just going, all right, pull the eyes out, put the new ones in, and we're done.
There are moments as well where they try to animate it, but I imagine that's quite a bit of a tricky thing to do, especially with actors moving around and whatnot. So it's a bit hard to get natural, but it's good to see. What did you think? I mean, I kind of expected Vroom to do this, but going to the library and him stumbling upon the rubbish. But yeah, I did expect him to sort of go to the library as one of his main things to do. What did you think of Vroom in this episode at the very beginning?
He's the same. Like as soon as they went to the library in the previous episode, or when he joins the team, like you know, for example, like either most episodes are going to have him coming out the library, or he's going to have a book. My thing is like I would put like the new mooks and stuff like that, so to promote the next thing. But it depends on what he's going to get, and I reckon that if he had a library card and they had points, then dear God, he is going to max that out to no end. But I would love it if they kept doing this and showing that, it's not just he's a book smarty and that's it. And you never see him again. It's just like, well, we've had one episode where he's been to the library. We don't need that anymore. I would love it if we had sort of piles of books coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And the last episode where everyone's saying goodbye, he's returning the books and the librarians go, don't worry, you can keep them. And he's like, yeah, and that's it. What did you think about him then?
So yeah, I think where it was kind of centered on him a bit, trying to get his more of his characteristics going. It was nice to see him initially find out about the trash world and his presence. So yeah, it was quite a good sort of segue to move into this direction of the combat. But yeah, I think it's like one of the little small parts where they have this casual encounter happen. It's quite nice. I imagine we're going to get more serious encounters as we go deeper into the story. So that's when it'll start getting more serious. So it's nice that they're having this lightheartedness to begin with. But as you can imagine, with Super Sentai and more especially Kamen Rider, it is going to get darker later down the line.
Yeah, I hope so. I goddamn hope so.
Yeah. One thing I'm gonna go back to quickly before we move on to more of this episode. I went back to when I was showing the images of these characters before, but I didn't specify about their appearance and the masks that we're wearing. What did you think of the appearance they donned? Because I thought that the masks were quite excellently chosen. Although Majin does kind of look like it's not really a mask, but more like underwear. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
It was very odd. Gowon, I think, is probably my favourite mask. The others are obviously more generic. Kaito at least looks like he's got the part, but I would have thought he would be wearing a mask too. But I suppose that kind of issue with acting or something, I do not know. So what did you think of their appearance in this particular episode?
Their appearance is fine. As you said, like just a minute ago, or a second ago, should I say, like with how it would be. I think it's harder for him to wear a mask because obviously it'd be muffled, where the others are voiced over, so it's more, you don't have to like have their mouths moving, so it's absolutely fine. I think Gowns is the best, like one of the best ones. Majin, when I looked at her, I was like, why are you wearing underwear? Like, why? I imagine that'd be like a girly type one. So that was the best one to kind of have. And then all the rest, like I could imagine Vrum wearing a different one, but then him wearing a basic one would be like, this is standard issue, you cannot take it. And then I thought maybe Jurin would wear something different. But quickly going back to the book thing, do you think that we're going to get a book monster and Vrum can't destroy him? Because it's really hard.
That is a possibility.
I think that'd be really cool. And he was like, if you destroy me, Vrum, knowledge will be lost. And it's like, I can't do it.
We'll have to wait and see for that. Yeah. I think it might be more like fairy tale events. That's what I imagine them sort of like doing with that. Okay, let's move on to Illuminerdi and his current work in secret, it seems. Because I don't know if King Bakaros actually, allowed this to happen. But it's clear to see that, he's working on some really good projects there. A little close-up as well. I think we all know what this is going to be. But what did you think of Illuminerdi taking this particular, causing this sort of effect where we're going to get something brand new and also something that would rival possibly Zenkaiger?
I think with him working on it, I like the fact that most of it's gears, obviously hence the gear theme of the series.
Yeah.
But it works really, really well. I love the fact that you've got the schematics of it, and he's obviously got the laser pointers too. But I love the fact that, it's obviously that Kaiju's parents have been there, so we're going to see a lot of schematics, like their work. Maybe they're under a spell, maybe they're Kikonoids now, so all the information's there. But I love the fact that, for simplistic means for the scene is where it's not like here's a big massive laser that we just pulled out of nowhere. It's I have got the parts. So it's simplistic, yet it's kind of being worked on. And I think you could have literally like extended this for maybe another episode or two, and you could have seen the progression of how it's made, rather than one episode is like, oh, I'm going to make this, and the next episode it's like, I've pretty much finished it. So I think by next episode it's officially finished, or the testing phase. And I think what would be cool is if this doesn't work out, because we've got more, I've got to make a better one. And I'd love to see if they did this, like a progression all the way through. Will they do it? I probably doubt it. But next episode, it's my greatest invention, and it'll get destroyed in like 3 episodes later.
Yeah, I definitely am interested to see what they're going to be doing for this particular creation, because I think by the looks of things he's focusing on more of the mechanical essence, where the Zenkaiger sort of focuses on the people essence, even with the machine influence to it. So what do you think to that particular possibility?
I think if it's more essence, like I think it's more, I don't know, I think when you've got the part where we've just seen like he has ability to transform, bring the physical stuff in. I think that's one of the stuff where abilities for Kaito and stuff are all fine. So I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think it's going to be interesting to see if he's able. Oh, hello.
Yeah, sorry, it's getting dark.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't turn mine on without blasting me out completely. What was it? I think it's gonna be an interesting turn of events. Are we going to see something where it's more physical on that side, but where Kaito and that have more kind of the powers compared to the physical form?
Yeah.
Because I thought that's what we were going to see at the very beginning. He calls upon whichever one, and they come out and fight for him, type thing. But where it's like, oh, you gain the abilities or you gain a weapon. So it'd be very interesting to see what goes on with the next episode, which I'm so looking forward to.
Right, let's talk about quickly. I mean, we'll kind of dash through these a bit more because they're not quite as significant. But I did like this particular image that I'm sharing with you all here. Just like the look of Trash World and getting like going into his own little world. Just like staying hidden in amount of trash. I did think the way these eyes are designed, it kind of did make him look like a spider. That's which is why I got that kind of vibe from him. So yeah, what did you think about his abilities? To just seep through trash like that.
I think their abilities they're pretty awesome, but they never get used more than once. Where if you can take over the world with trash, it's fine. So why not use that ability? Why not have someone bring it back? Be like, we're going to fill it with trash because but on a lot grander scale. So I like the fact that they've all got like unique abilities that are completely different, and each Sentai's always been like completely different each one. So next year when they do whatever, I can't wait to see what sort of monsters they can, or if they're going to recycle things and be like, haha, he's a monster. He's got the same abilities as last year.
I do think it was kind of good how the effects for the laziness caused the effect that you see around Kaito's eyes and stuff. Having that little touch in now to show someone affected by the trash. And I think it's pretty true, to be honest. When you think about people having messy houses and stuff, it kind of brings you down a bit. So to have that, magnified even more is a pretty smart move by the particular person who wrote this episode. Would you agree with that, Airlim?
Yeah, I kind of when I saw it when he goes like, "Oh, I'm so tired." I generally thought it's like everyone gets bored of cleaning at some point, where not let's just super focused like Vron, but where people go like, "Oh, I can't be bothered picking up this up," and that's how I kind of saw the powers and how it kind of affected. But it can be as you said that sort of ability too. So I'm like, So I kind of agree.
Okay.
With some additions.
So I do like how the trash eventually took over more because it's just coming out of Trash World even more. And to see that Majin has the special ability to just travel through. I couldn't really take a picture of it because I couldn't really capture that essence, but I liked how you saw Sek-chan involved in this more. Yak-chan was obviously too immobilized by this trash to be able to do anything, and Majin's just sort of pushing through the trash as if he's burrowing through the ground. I really loved that, and I wish I could have captured that to show here, but all you could just see is just bits of trash moving up a bit, so it's hard to capture unless I make it into a GIF. But I really like that this particular moment with Sek-chan being saved by Majin. What did you think?
Yeah. I think it was one of my favorite scenes because it was the point where, like, two things like every time you see Sek-chan, it's always that squawk like type thing, which would annoy the shit out of you after some point. But this point, it was more like help me, but it was a sad help me, more like I'm stuck, come save me. And I was like, oh, that's so adorable.
Yeah.
But when she was kind of going through the trash, it just reminded me of like Bugs Bunny, like trying to get to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of cool. It would have been cool if they had more kind of like thing where the trash would go up higher rather than kind of like a little bit up and down. So yeah, I like the scene. It was this. I think out of the entire episode, this was my favorite part of it because it felt like it was a bond. And then when she goes like, "Look after Yak-chan," Sek-chan's not going to do that. It's just going to watch, and that's it.
I really want like a Sek-chan like figurine or something.
They will make.
Sorry.
I said they will make it.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, seeing that the persistence of Vroon actually paid off and he was able to push through into the trash. I didn't expect it to have this to actually be possible because he was putting his own weight and everything. Oh, Another thing I forgot to mention. What did you think of their attacks? Because they were very specific to show that each of them have like their specialty attacks. So we got Majin on sort of like her staff as using it as like a broom. You had Gao on sort of his very sort of Gal Ranger ability to fight with the claw and like the flipping and the stance. And then you've also got, I think Juran was obviously obvious using his sword, but I thought Vroon was interesting how he can do that sort of spinning attack thing. Which one of those four are your favourite?
Machines.
Imagine, just because she's able to, yeah. To be fair, they do use her like the weapon. The way she uses the weapon is quite interesting. And especially as she just likes. It's in a weird position as well, how she sort of holds it, and you've got the orb up there. She just pokes people with it.
Yeah.
She goes straight for the head, though.
Oh yeah, I think when she comes up against Trash and like attacks him, I think it's that slight comedy. I don't know if it was comedy. It's like he's like, yeah, and she's like, yeah, boom, and I think it just works so well.
Yeah.
It was more like caught you off guard. I mean, they've all obviously got their own attacks. Like I really like Joran's a lot. But obviously it's what part of the series is. So I would imagine that, Ron can like spin around, but he's also got like the pickaxe. Machine's got the staff, and I just imagine that's what they all are.
Yeah.
So I loved. To be fair, Joran's the second best one.
I do like how Kaito sort of traced after Trash World, even though he just fell back. That's probably something I would do if I was in his shoes. So yeah, but I do think this was very cool that they had Vroon sort of shining in this moment, and he cleared the trash with a shot. That was very badass. Okay, let's move on to well, there was a little image there that you shared with us. What did you what made you think this was worth sharing when she was feeling a bit down before the trash flowed in?
Oh yeah, I didn't see when it pops up because I have to wait. I think the reason why I did it is because of the mask and the lace.
Yeah.
It was more like she's just wearing knickers rather than a natural
yeah, it
mask,
doesn't seem it's not really a mask, really, is it? Like this is
Yeah,
very
I think-
bad, very bad. You
Yeah.
can't tell people you can wear underwear as protection. It doesn't work. I mean, obviously they're not keeping pandemic in mind. This is just for trash cleaning, but it's still one of the weirdest sort of like masks to be used in this sort of essence. But I suppose it's a cultural thing. Maybe that's the sort of masks they have. They're feminine masks, masculine masks, the regular, obvious, surgical masks. But yeah, quite curious.
I think. Yeah, I think it does. It's meant to show that she is still feminine, like to a part where she's a robot. So you can just kind of like, well, they could wear normal ones. So it says like, hey, look, she's wearing something lacy. She's wearing something that a girl would wear. But I think it's also the main, like I said, with the eyes, like I said before, rather than be fully open. Like when you see them normally with normal eyes, like but because they can't blink. It's different. So it's like, well, we're going to show you that she's got sad eyes and she's feeling down. So that's the way that they've kind of gone through it, because again, they're not blinking, they're not saying anything, so it makes things easier. So that's probably the other reason why I shared it, or that was the main reason why I did. But damn, she's just so cute.
Yeah. I didn't actually add the images because I didn't really think it was that favorable of a moment for me. It probably might have been for you, and I forgot to grab the image. But what did you think of the little? Actually, it should be on here. I'm pretty sure I had it on here. It might be. There we go. Yeah. So seeing when Kaito, Juran, and Gawon were basically changed into different rubbish. What did you think of that one?
Oh, it was just trash. That was it. It was like they turned around and they were like, oh, we're the first trash heroes. And I was just like, I kind of like that, rather than be like, where you see most teams, they'd be like, oh, I don't want to wear this. Like, we're not this. They just went with it. I think that was the main thing. Like, we're trash, but rather than like saying we're this one, like they all had different ones. Like, I'm non-recyclable, or I'm this, or I'm that. I can't remember what they called it. But I generally liked it, and they fought in it as well. So it wasn't just the thing of get it off us. They were like, oh, we're wrapped up. Yeah. Boom, arms come out. We're absolutely fine.
Sorry about switching switching the images around. I think these come out in a weird order again. I do number them so they come out so they do supposed to come out in a proper order. But yeah, this keeps happening.
That's fine. I think it's just different because you don't normally see a lot of this stuff. We're going through all of them right now.
But yeah, so seeing a little moment between Rune and Majin, because obviously they didn't really get along, because Majin was always making a mess, didn't go too well with Rune while trying to sort it out. But then you sort of see that bonding moment where Majin has her, like, you know, may have some like flaws and whatnot, but there is some good things about her too. So seeing that she can travel through trash, it shows. It's nice to see sort of acceptance, and it's nice to also see a bond between two characters other than Kaito and another particular individual. So what did you think of this
Yeah.
moment between Majin and Vrun?
I think it's nice because again, it's like one person's messy, the other one's like super clean, so it works perfectly. It's more like, oh, I didn't trust you in this ability. I didn't know this, but now I accept you. And it's one of those quick things of like, oh, you saved me, you've done this. I wouldn't have thought of your messy skills would kind of like help. And then it's like, oh, well, I didn't think your cleaning was help. And it's like, boom, done. So it's kind of nice seeing them bond. So maybe they'll work better as a team, and they need to kind of build that up a bit more.
All right, yeah. Okay, let's go on to the little magic show that they seem to have. I think it's nice that Majin's abilities have got like a quirk to them, because magic can literally be anything. So having a little bit of definability that is supposed to have that sort of essence to it was quite nice. And Vroon helping as well, I did like that too. Was this one of your favourite moments as well? Since you're a big fan of Majin?
I liked it because again, it was the whole thing of I'm going to punch you in the face type thing. It's just the way it built up, and that's what I thought was fun. It was more like, yay, magic show, and she's like, I love that sort of like comedy to some degree, even if I don't know if it is comedy, but it's something that I knew this would happen. Like, it's a magic show, so I think you're going to see this a few times. It's not just going to be done. That's the only time. So I reckon you'll see it get bigger and bigger and better all the way through. But goddamn Majin, love it.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was a good bit of show of the ability. So in this particular episode, we had the debut of seeing the Go Buster gear being used. So what did you think of the abilities being shown here to represent Go Busters, which I believe were the Cheetah Speed and the Gorilla Strength?
Yeah. I would have loved it if they used all three abilities, where you'd have like Majin runs fast, Vrun knocks him into the air, and then maybe you would have seen her do a kick type thing. I would have loved to have seen all three powers used, but the way that it looks like is it was going to go like Vrun was going to get the speed and the kick or the jumping, and then Majin was going to get the strength. So for them to kind of like change it around and say, well, this is Majin, she's got it. I absolutely love it. I think it was a unique thing, and I've got a feeling now that we're going to see at least it will be one power that they use a week to kind of like balance it out. So I kind of liked it. I just like the effects, and it worked well.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I do think the effects were great in this. It's nice to see these particular visuals being reused again in Zenkaiger. So yeah, I think with particular some sort of like shows, you sort of see their take on it, but to see that the effects like the same way that the cheetah speed works for Go Busters being reused in this particular show is great to see. I think my least favorite has got to be the Gorilla Strength. I have no idea why they haven't used all three, but it makes sense because really I think Buster Yellow was just more of for like jumping at like great heights. So yeah, just see only these two used kind of represents Go Busters way more compared to that jumping, because as you've probably seen, when it comes to jumping into their mechas and stuff like that, they can jump pretty high anyway, so it's not really that much of a feat. But yeah, Go Busters was represented well.
Yes.
Let's talk about quickly. Oh God, it's all these images and stuff everywhere. But seeing like them doing their special attack and whatnot, I really like that because it's nice. I like that symbol and the sound effects that occur. It's like boom. It's like whoa. It sounds like it's gonna hit hard. But yeah, that's a particular moment I quite enjoyed. But I think there's one thing that we should talk about, which I need to scare. So announcing themselves as sort of like, well, didn't really say it, but it was more like a trash Sentai, Zenkaiger.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the little Google search, or sorry, Zenkai search that they had with Sek-chan?
I liked it. Like, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, we're the trash rangers or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's just like, I need to kind of do that. Because I think we do that in everyday life where you'll say something about, oh, just let me quickly Google that. Yeah. So where he's like, is that a word? Can we use that? And he's going to it. And obviously a great way of getting around copyright. We're going to use the color scheme of Google, but we can't use the word Google.
Yeah.
Happy days. So I think it's just little traits like that make the show extra special rather than just the generic, hey, let me look up. Because they would have used Bing, and no one likes Bing.
Other search engines are available.
Yeah.
So I think there wasn't really significant anything about the Megazord battles and stuff like that. However, the fact that the covering over of the sort of like heads with the bucket with the bins and stuff like that. I do like how it was basically dark and he couldn't see anything in there, and it had like a dark vibe to it while he was in the cockpit. What did you think of that? It's Airlim.
I liked it because it's little things like that work 10 times more. And if you notice, like, you could hear it in the background, like the staticness. So it's like your eyes are gone, so I can't see. So him, rather than just going, oh, well, I can still fight anyway, they can't see, so he can't see. And I really like that dynamic. But what I also really liked is the fact that rather than jumping out of the Zenkaiger and then having to jump into it, there's just a portal linking them.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to show. Yeah, I do like how Majin's ability was used in this to cause the rubbish to be recycled. But once again, that was just sort of like the way they use magic in this particular series. So it's got like it's kind of like the imagination of Tokyo Tokyo Yongo, number 4. Because his imagination is based on things that are kind of set in reality, so it's not as powerful as, say, the other particular members on his team. That's what the kind of vibe I'm getting from Majin, where although she's using magic, it's still centered, it's still grounded by reality still. So I'm hoping her magic kind of gets a little bit more, in awe looking sort of thing, sort of things you see in Magi Ranger with the spells being like the symbols and the seals and fire, all elemental attacks. That's what I kind of want to see, but I think that's just the essence of going for Majin, because she is supposed to represent magic as a whole. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Magi Ranger's the only magic Super Sentai.
Yeah.
So
as far as I know, not unless they brought another one out. But no, it's all magic based.
But yeah, I do like that transfer though that they had. That was really good. I even captured the essence here where you could see him sort of like not really going through a portal, but kind of teleporting through the gears in a way. It was good to see that they have that in mind, because that was one of the big questions. 2 different Megazords, two different mecha that Kaito is able to cause to combine into, and having them both active, how does that work when there's only one person that's able to sit in the cockpit? But yeah, it's good to see they're connected that way.
Yeah, I liked it. Did going to the Megazord fight, I don't know if you got this, but when the fridge comes up and starts eating the bottom of them.
Yeah.
I was like, the first thing came to mind is Indiana Jones. And I was just like, why does that remind me? And that's the first thing that came to my mind was, why is this Indiana Jones? But It was actually quite cool. I like it.
Yeah, it was kind of funny as well because it was like, well, this is just a 9 as
Yeah.
they seem to think about it. But yeah, okay, let's move on to like near the ending now. So we've seen that although that Majin is trying to do better and everyone has an understanding that sometimes being messy is just what Majin is. I like how Yak-chan was like, clean it up, and then she falls over.
Yeah.
So-
I feel like that again was like another lesson where it's more if you like you take stuff up to your room and like your parents or like your partner or or sort of like your friends will say, oh, it's gonna be messy up there, and you're like, no, I'll clean up later, and you don't. And then like I imagine that's what she does all the time, like, oh, I'm gonna go up to the room now, and like, oh, make sure you bring down your dinner plate, make sure you don't leave snacks everywhere, and like, oh, no, and then you do, and it's like 2 weeks later, you're like, oh, I need to kind of clean this up. That's how I kind of imagine it, where she's like, no, I was like,
yeah.
that Majin,
Yeah, she
love
is.
it.
She has got very teenager essence, and that kind of comes across with her elders that are around her.
Mm.
So even though she's clumsy and she's still learning that she needs to tidy up after herself, yeah, it's good to see those particular influences in this particular show. So the big reveal. Did not see this coming. I did not expect Stacy to be the son of Barashatara. What did you think of this when it was revealed?
Um, I did, I thought it was like it just makes me think that he's not human and he's a cyborg, and it was a project that they worked on because obviously robots and humans can't fall in love and have small humanoid babies. So I imagine that he was just a cyborg, or maybe some sort of control where he's like, oh, you're my father type thing. So I'm hoping that they explain it a bit more because it's just one of those. I know it's meant to be a cliffhanger, but the next episode preview was a cliffhanger to me. So this, I was just like, it's fine. I can't wait to see what they bring up in the next episode. Now, if they want it to be a really big cliffhanger, don't explain it whatsoever. Just leave it at that. And you
Yeah.
go, but where's this coming from? I don't know. It's week 35, and we still not had that explanation.
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely showing that Kaito's parents, both the professors, probably have, because Isao and Misuku probably have, influence on this
Mm.
particular, turn of events. Because Iljirood is trying to see, it seems like he's got similar technology to what they're going to be using, and as we've seen in the preview, it's definitely going to be the same
Yeah.
technology in some form. And the fact that that we have a human appearance for Bashitara's son Stacy further shows that there has been more of an influence from the professors than we've initially thought, rather than just being passers-by or happen to be in Iljirood's lab. Like, they've done something. It's like they've been working with them, and it makes you wonder if the technology that Iljirood worked on was only made possible because of those professors.
Yeah, I'd imagine that.
And that might be the whole reason why this king is able to capture these things, and it all started off in the first place because of the professors accidentally coming into this place and this technology being formed because of them. So that's my theory to this. But yeah, so I think that pretty much covers all of this particular episode. But yeah, what part are you looking forward to most with the new preview coming out?
All of it. Like I like the way that it's shown. I am hoping it's a two-parter, or they don't spend too much time basic on like Kaito wants to make friends with him. So for the next 10 minutes they're talking. I really want it to be, here are the Rangers, here's the Megazord fights. Let's go for it. And I really can't wait for it because it does feel like it should be a film. It should be like this should be like a two-parter at least. I just really want to see how they all fight with Megazords because I really want to see Zord on Zord action. I want to see how Zenkaiger and all the others fight against the past Super Sentai. That's what I'm there for. Like I didn't expect it to be so soon.
Yeah,
But
it does seem like it's a big event, and the fact that it's only one episode means something bigger is going to be coming on down the line. It's Robo Knight Kaija. I'll get to that in a minute. So, yeah, so the fact that we're going to have such a momentous episode is going to be something that's definitely what people are going to be looking forward to next week. seeing all these I bet, but like I said before, I reckon this is the difference between the the Zenkaiger stuff compared to Ilgerude's invention. I reckon whereas Zenkaiger accesses the abilities of other teams, and just everything in general what they're able to do. I reckon that the stuff that Ilgerude used on his new device that he invented accesses the Megazords and Mecha instead of teams. What do you think of that particular possibility?
I would go with that. I think, as you said before earlier as well, like maybe it's abilities for Zenkaiger, physical form for Stacy. It's such a weird name. Here is a Japanese name, Stacy from EastEnders.
Yeah, it's a really feminine name, but I suppose, to Japan maybe that's like a unisex name, and I'm just not aware of this, but it's an interesting name. Maybe there's a reason for it, or we're yet to find out. And I reckon, once again, that the professors have something to do with that, but we'll have to wait and see. So, as I've mentioned in the previous episode, we have a little preview of Kaiser. Now, this image obviously wasn't as clear. It was only thanks to someone on Twitter by the name of Living Ranger, who's I think it's Josh Perry. He's the one that sort of cleared this. Yeah, he's the one that cleared this image up, so we got a better version of the silhouette that was seen in the magazine. So, looking at Kaiser, do you think that this might actually be what we'll see later on down the line for Ilgerude's invention and for the new character Stacy that's appeared?
Yeah, if Stacy is the Zen is Kaiser, what will happen is Stacy will be beaten really badly. Kaito will turn around and say, "It's fine, come join us," and it'll be like maybe there'll be a betrayal. I'm going to throw in just a bit of betrayal, sprinkle that in. So Stacy joins the team, and then another bit, sprinkle that one. His gun, it will transform into the different version, so like a gold version of the gun, and then all his gears will change, and therefore it will lead into him joining the team, and it'll be a reveal. But I would like that to happen at like maybe episode 20, 25, because I think if Stacy's going to be the rival for Kaito, I would love that to be. I want that rival to go on. I don't want it to be 2 episodes and it's like, I'm joining your team. So I can't wait to see what happens, because maybe that's why, that's Stacy's power, is he has the ability like Gokaiger, and that's the reason why he's going to be the gold pirate. Sounds really weird calling him a gold pirate, but
well, I reckon that might be true. Either Stacy's gonna have those abilities and something's gonna break in a way that it becomes the stuff for Kaiser. But I reckon this is more to do with how the toys are going to be used. So I reckon Kaiser's going to have a different changer entirely. And when while they're releasing the toys, the Zenkai changer, I can't remember the specific name for it, but I think that's going to be the toy that produces all the sounds that are relevant to our team and each Sentai. But then the stuff being used by Ilgerude's invention is going to be using the same gears but producing sounds that are related to the actual Megazords, the less person. Because even though that the gear and stuff from Zenkaiger is based on the Megazords, they're not really fully about the Megazords. They're more to do with the teams. Like they've got the influence, and then the Rangers are actually representing them. So Zenkaiger looks like Aka Ranger and Big One, and then obviously the others look like they're the Zords are represented, but there is more to do with their powers than the actual Zords themselves. So bad guy, great Zords.
Yeah. Now, question is, what sort of what morpher type would you like? Would you like it if it's more of a physical thing, wrist morpher, sunglasses, belt buckle? What morpher would you like? Kaiser to have?
I think because it's Gokaiger inspired, I'm hoping for some form of weapon. So if not a sword, maybe a spanner.
It's just a spanner. Oh, you. Yeah.
But yeah, if it's not a gun, I will be surprised either way. So yeah, I
Mm.
think that sort of thing. I just like them to mix it up because the Sixth Ranger usually comes with different gear. So having something different to what the regular people have would be something collectors I'm sure will love. Um,
Mm.
Richard replying, no more for it's Robo Knight.
Yeah, he's come back.
Oh yeah, that imagine if that actually was a thing. If we had um, Ghost Sager being represented by a different form of Robo Knight, that would be pretty cool.
It's rapping everywhere.
Yeah,
Dropping those beats.
and it's kind of curious that you've actually that have made me say that now because when you think about it, Robo Knight was kind of like, I mean, obviously it's not Robo Knight in Ghost Sager, it's Ghost
Ghost
Knight.
Knight.
So he kind of would fit in with Zenkaiger a lot more
Mm.
because he was a robot ranger who could turn into a Zord. Like he was,
Mm.
he like you could easily use his appearance and recreate that in Zenkaiger and still be so similar. So
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool. But then again, the header design and whatnot is only specific to Ghost Sager, so
Mm.
doubt that'll happen. Anyway, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I can't wait for the next episode, and I'm sure you
Yep.
can't wait either. So that's going to be something to look forward to next time. Do let us know what you guys think about the episode as well, and any of your favorite moments and stuff like that we may not have discussed. You're welcome to put it in the comments, and
Yeah.
if anyone's able to put it in the chat now. But I think that is all we can go through at the moment. So let's go back on to the rating. So, what did you rate this episode, Airlim?
I'm gonna give it a 4. Like, I know next week if it's good, it's gonna be a 5. But 4, I would give it because it's silly, but it was more. I would probably say kind of half filler, half not. So I'm gonna give it 4. How about you?
To me, although it did kind of defy Imagine and ruin it a bit more, I don't think it was as good for the series as a whole. Like there wasn't really much to reveal. It's more like a small episode to sort of dish through to. It's basically a soft reveal to lead on to the next episode. So for me, this was more of a 3, but we'll keep it at 4 because I think that's probably a fair amount. I'm probably diving it down a little bit too much, but yeah, 3 for me. But I think overall we should just give it a 4. Which so far, so all of our episodes to be, I think we've only given one 5 so far and one 3. So yeah, for me this is more of a 3, but for now, unless other people will say in the chat otherwise, the 4 is where it's going to stay.
I'd give
Okay,
that.
so I think that's pretty much everything now because we've dished out the ratings. We've got all this stuff to look forward to next week. So, Ellen, where can everyone find you on social media, my friend?
YouTube and Twitch, and Instagram all Airlim, and Twitter is Mainstream Live.
Nice. And you can find me, everybody, at Henshin Asset on Instagram and on Twitter. So thank you, my dudes. I hope we can see you all again during the next live stream that we do. So yeah, I'll see you all next time. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.